What's up, guys? X Miller here. It's 45 Lambkin Lane, and we are back. I had a little mishap a little bit ago. My computer actually decided to die on me, so everything I know and love is gone. But tonight we are back, and whew, I don't even know how to say this. We got a big show for you tonight. I got Michael Myers himself stopping by. Chris Durand from Halloween H20. He played Michael Myers in Halloween H20 back in 1998. It's been so long, and we appreciate Chris for coming by, and sure to be something good. So I'm going to take a moment to relax. We're going to just kind of hang out till Chris comes on, and I hope everyone's having a good week. It's Christmas season, holiday season. All your kids are waiting anxiously to see what you got them. And if you didn't get that Xbox, PlayStation, Super 9000, then you're in some trouble. No, it feels good to be back, though. I was devastated when I lost a computer. One second. So I took it to Best Buy, and Best Buy wanted like $250 just to look at it, which was obviously not happening. You got to forgive me as well, because I'm sort of waiting for a message. He's going to confirm with us there through social media, and then he's going to call in. But so I got Facebook kind of up while we wait for him, but I'll turn it off when he gets on. And yeah, so they wanted like 300, and he's like, so you just leave it here overnight and we'll take care of everything. I'm like, well, wait a minute. We didn't talk about, pricing or anything like that. He's like, oh, well, it's $250 for us to look at. And he's like, since you have Windows 7, we might not be able to do anything with it. And I'm just thinking, like, you can't do anything with it. So it's like, I'm not going to give you $250 to possibly fix my computer. And the funnier part was, he was like, oh, and if we do get like some of your data back, we might not be able to get all of it. So now you're telling me I have to pay upwards of $300 to possibly not get it all back, and for it to possibly not work at all. So yeah, that was not happening. Needless to say. So we'll probably the majority of the conversation's probably going to be revolving around Halloween H20, of course. And some interesting news for Halloween 2018. Quickly before he jumps on, Nick Castle is playing Michael Myers in Halloween 2018 with Danny McBride's Halloween. I mean, at first I was like, what are you doing? But then I was like, I see what you're doing. I don't know. It's, I like it. I'm with it. I'm not, when I was skeptical, I wasn't like a hater. You know what I mean? I just, and plus the stunt guy they got playing, Michael, they announced a stunt guy and stuff. So, he looks whatever. And Nick Castle sent a funny video to production of him walking as Michael Myers to show that he still got it. That was pretty funny. Yeah, so it's been aside from all the Halloween stuff, it's been a rough couple weeks. The podcast's obviously taking a break. Lambkin Lane's taking a week off. That was the first Saturday we actually didn't have an episode, which is okay. I feel like we've been going strong. I thoroughly enjoyed doing it, and I plan to keep going. And Chris was gracious enough to do me the honor of asking him a few questions when he comes on. So yeah, it's some ups and downs of the week. It's fun. It's like I would see things on the computer that I lost and be like, oh, I need to save this because I don't want to lose that. And then it's like, now that I have the new computer, I'm like, But I'm slowly realizing the things that like I do need, like pictures and stuff. I'll go to like upload a picture for a customer or something and it's not there, and I'm like, ah. And just like, excuse me, all the pictures of like my first mask I sculpted and stuff, which was looked like Anderson Silva from the UFC, looked like Anderson the Spider Silva, which was pretty funny. But yeah, so you don't know what you got till it's gone, or I guess, and you know what, you don't know what you got until you need it, right? Well, got Christmas right around the corner. Let's see what else we got here. I was thinking maybe we could do current events before he came on, but I it's such a pleasure for him to be doing this for me that I basically worked. I obviously worked around what his time lined up with, or whatever his schedule. So, um, I don't know if current events would be. I don't know if I'd be able to get as much as I would like to out, just because I'm waiting for him. So, yeah. I don't really have any funny stories for you guys this week. I do keep having run-ins with pizza delivery people, though. It's so funny. They took I got puppuccinos and they took like 2 hours the other day, and 2 hours, yeah. And they were like, "Yeah, this is free, and then the next one's free." It's like, how about just delivering it in a timely manner, like you're supposed to, and we don't need to do any of this. But so yeah. Basically we're just waiting for Chris to come on, and let me see what I got here. So I'm looking right now, and I'm not looking at current events, but one thing that keeps popping up is the girl that got mauled by the pit bulls, by her own pit bulls in the woods. Man, what a tragic situation. I know that's like completely random and off topic, but I'm just looking at that right now while I'm waiting. I'm not just waiting for Chris. There's a few other people that I need to confirm some things with. So these things don't really work with one person all the time. I make the magic happen, but there's a couple people that big help, and I'm trying to get, well, like I have Jeff Mickey, Mike Aspinwall, and all those guys. I wish they were like where I lived, because to have them on, like if we could have a legit show with all three of us on, would just be amazing. And even Firefighter Higgins, it's just, I have the best times when they're on. So they're really, really good people. I just keep looking down at this phone thing here. Oh, that's people. Oh man, I can't talk about it right now because it's kind of inappropriate. But for I might do it the next episode. There's this viral video that my buddy's father is involved in, and I put a comment on the video, and it's just, oh my goodness. I've like contemplated deleting it 1,000 times. I am not used to attention like that. But yeah, it's a crazy story, but I think it's a story that people should know, because when you watch the video, you just laugh at it, and it's funny, but it's like, if you know the story, you'd probably be a little more sympathetic and understanding of the situation. So yeah, kind of pains me seeing that video. So, you know what I could go ahead and do is, I guess I could announce some guests that are coming up. One of them's a good friend of mine, Curtis Williams, and he's a personal trainer. And I wanted to get him on because I want him to explain how important it is for physical fitness, how it could save your life and all that. And Mr. Durand, Chris Durand, is calling in now, so we're going to go ahead and wait for the phone to ring, and then we're going to get it on. Want to be able to sign out of Facebook here. I have a big problem with the phone making a dial tone, too. I can't stand it. Whew. Gotta tell you, I'm a little nervous. It's not every day you get to interview somebody like Chris, you know? He's such a special guy, such a special talent. Sorry about that. Let's take a sip of my drink there. What are you guys doing for the holidays? Let me know while we're waiting for Chris to call. Post in the comments. You going to your families, whatever you're doing. It's weird. It doesn't even feel like Christmas, really. It feels more like Halloween. You're getting all these Halloween news, and now I got this thing with Chris. It's like Halloween is our Christmas, so everybody knows that anyway. And it's not going to be like dead air and pauses like it has been. I just I don't know. Usually I don't like write out topics, but usually I just like I have a bunch to say, and honestly it's always so little time. But tonight, I don't know, maybe I'm just nervous. Certainly I've never interviewed someone of this caliber before either. All right, Chris is having trouble with the number here. Oh no. Let's see if maybe I sent it wrong. We'll send it to him again. There it is. And who knows if it's bad enough, not bad enough, but we'll we could obviously edit out certain things if we have to. So not parts when he comes on, but before this, when we got some dead air and all that stuff, and it's kind of just me yapping about holiday season and all that. So all right, I guess I am a dummy and sent him the wrong number at first. What an honor. Honestly, I can't say it enough. Not sure what I did to deserve this. Nah, you know what? I always tell people, be nice to people, be professional, be a fan. You know what I mean? You have to. I don't approach these people as a business professional or hey, I have a professional. I don't do any of that. I tell them I'm a fan. This is why I want to talk to you, because I'm a big fan. And for people like Chris who come on and just do these interviews, it's insane. It's mind blowing. So I can't give him props enough. And we should be getting the call soon, just because here it is, man. All right, let's go ahead. Hello?
Hey, what's going on, Alex?
Hey, Chris, what's going on, man?
Not much. How you doing, man?
Pretty good, just hanging out. We just did, I was going to do some current events before you came on. We usually kind of see what's up in the news and stuff, but, I just figured we'd hang back and just kind of wait for you to come on. So first and foremost, I appreciate this. I can't stress to you how much it is an honor for me to interview you. So.
Well, my pleasure. Thanks for having me, man.
Oh, no problem. So, first I wanted to just, obviously get started with, and the thing is, Chris, you and I have done some Q&A interviews in the groups and stuff, which I thank you so much for those as well. We kind of have an ongoing one in there. So there's some questions in there that some people might see, but since we have you for an audio now, I might ask some of the same questions that's in there. So the first I wanted to get started with, how did you get involved with production and ultimately land the role of Michael Myers?
Well, from my understanding, originally the production had a casting call through agencies of about 100 people, and they didn't like anybody.
Oh, wow.
And traditionally, because it's a physical role, they had used somebody with a stunt background, and so they decided to go back to that thinking. Now, the coordinator of the show, who doubled Jamie, had decided to bring me in, and there's 5 of us total. And she said, I'm going to give you 5 guys who are all qualified. I want you to pick somebody. They're not going to do big cattle call. And we went in, and actually one of the guys was her ex-husband.
Oh, wow.
I figured she was rooting for him because she would have some financial interest in that.
Right.
But at the end of the day, it came down to me and one other guy, and they kind of decided by looking at it and saying, who do we want to hang out with for the next few months? And I was actually her first recommendation out of the whole group. And the other guy also had kind of a bit of a, to put it nicely, a bit of a bitch in his nature.
Oh, wow. Oh, okay.
And could be difficult at times.
Yeah.
And I think they kind of saw that spark in him, and so they decided to bring me on board.
So that's amazing. First of all, thank you. And so it's like, if you have a humble guy like yourself, and I'm not just trying to coattail ride you are seriously like one of the nicest guys I ever met. And
Thank you.
but so when you have a nice guy with you and a guy like him, does it make the decision easy for them, or does work also like have a big factor to play in it, or if it's like, hey, this guy's like, his attitude is so bad we just can't work with him?
Well, I think there's the first and foremost, you need somebody who's qualified.
Right.
And you need somebody who can give you what you need. And productions will be willing to put up with a bit of bad behavior, if you will, to get that, because it's a short-term kind of loss for a long-term gain. But honestly, people want to have a good time in this business, and they want to have fun when they're filming. It's difficult enough as it is. So it makes a huge difference if you've got a good attitude and you're easy to work with.
Of course. And I obviously figured that was obvious, but if the film industry is so weird that it's just like, I don't know, that's just something I had to ask. So,
no, there are times when they bring people on who are very difficult to deal with for everyone, but it's because they have an established name and they can make, it's a business decision that they can make enough money off of it that they're willing to put up with kind of the BS of the whole situation. But it makes life miserable for everybody.
Right.
And of all the businesses in the world not to have fun in, I mean, this is really the leader. You should be having fun in this business above and beyond. It's really a privilege to be working in it.
Right.
So, I mean, if you give them my druthers, I'd rather work with nice people any day of the week because it's your life and it makes it fun and you want to have a good time.
Yeah, that completely makes sense. That actually that's perfect. That leads sort of into the next thing. It's like, so being that, Halloween is obviously a gruesome film. It's not Shakespeare. It's not Titanic. So how do you prepare to play a murderous villain in Michael Myers, being that it's not some drama,
Well, there's a lot of challenges involved with this, and what I kind of tell people is you have to look at this in the kind of classical sense of this character as an archetype. You've got the archetype of kind of the hero and the lover and the villain, and this is really the villain.
Right.
And if you look at it in those terms, it's a very basic character that you need to play him in a way that's powerful and raw on that level. So when I came into this, the big challenge is you don't have any dialogue and you don't have any facial expression.
Right.
And be scary. And so what do you do in that situation? And I kind of had to figure it out on the fly because there's not a lot of input by anybody. You've got your blocking in the actual scene and what you're going to kind of
right.
do to advance the story, but in that you have to bring something to it. And what I realized very quickly is that if you don't put the intent behind your movements and the intent behind everything you're doing, that becomes rather obvious. And if you do put that there, if you actually kind of bring up that energy and put it out there, it translates the film. And that's kind of the magic of film. And I had to figure out who this guy was and what I needed to bring to make this happen.
Right.
And what I came up with was he's essentially the Energizer Bunny of predators. It's a predator that's coming for you, and there's nothing you can do to stop this guy. He's your worst nightmare that way.
Right.
Now, with that in mind, I literally did something in the film each time I would do it, and I'd put on the mask, and I'd kind of tilt my head kind of down and a little bit forward, and I'd stare at somebody like a big cat would when they lock in on their prey.
Right.
And when they lock in on their prey, it becomes primal. And I would do a guttural growl very low in my chest, and I would just lock in on my target, and that's what I was doing for that moment. That was it. I was coming for you, and there was nothing you could do to stop me. And again, that translates into film, which was really neat and a really big lesson for me in terms of acting.
Yeah, so, I mean, a lot of people don't understand that, Michael Myers is an actual character, and you can't just throw the mask on, and I'm not discrediting fan films, but I mean, so I won't mention any, obviously, but you can sort of see it in some fan films, how some people might get that idea that you can kind of just throw the mask on and go at it, and there's some amazing fan films, but you could sort of see how it takes a certain person to play Michael Myers, and
right. Well, I mean, listen, the thing about that is there's a certain level of fright that comes with just the mask. There's a certain freakiness that comes with the character itself.
Yep.
Just by donning the costume and donning the mask, you're going to get partway there. But that doesn't give you what you need to really pull it off. And that was kind of my goal with this, is you've got to keep it at that level, and that intensity level, the entire time, or it's just not going to sell. And, walking down the hall with a mask on is just some guy in a mask.
Right.
But walking down the hall with the intent and the real energy coming from you of like, I'm coming for you and there's nothing you can damn well do to stop me.
Yeah.
Is very different.
Oh my goodness, yes. And you, I don't remember if it was in the Q&A. Maybe, I mean, I've talked to you a few times. Did you say you did or didn't watch the previous Halloweens? You sort of just...
What? I did not, and there's kind of a story behind that, and it was a bit of a happy accident.
Oh, awesome.
When I went into the original interview, and they were ready to kind of sit down and talk to me for a moment, they were talking amongst themselves about how they were not going to do anything that came before.
Oh.
That was kind of null and void. Now, I took that to mean exactly what it sounds like. It's
right.
like, we're not going to do that, so why bother looking at any of that?
Of course.
What they meant, in retrospect, was that they were not going to do reference anything after number 2.
Oh.
That all of the in-betweens were not part of this story, that this was considered the third in the trilogy, and they weren't going to reference any of those other movies. It was 1, 2, H2O. Now, my misconstruing what they meant worked to my benefit because I didn't overthink it, and I didn't second-guess myself, and I did not, study things to the nth degree and try to mimic it.
Right.
I had to find the character on my own for the movie that I was doing at the time and not worry about anything else. And that ended up being the biggest blessing of all because I had to do a different kind of work to get there. and I didn't just become a mimic, which
Right.
of course, can ring very hollow. And again, goes back to what we're talking about. If you just throw the mask on and
Exactly.
certain movements, it doesn't necessarily read the same.
And
And I realized quickly, Alex, that I had
yep.
to bring something to this more than being a guy just standing there in a mask, because that was pretty basic and wasn't really gonna work.
And especially if they tell you, like, we're kind of gonna avoid the sequels. That might tell you, and I don't know I don't know personally, but that might tell you, like, hey, I gotta switch it up, because, if they're saying that we're gonna avoid these, then I don't want to look like these past guys.
Correct.
Right.
Right, but I took it as we're not going to do anything that came before. And honestly, I didn't know the series. I hadn't really seen any of these before.
Mm.
And so I didn't bother to look at any of them, because I said, we're not doing that, so why should I worry about that?
Right. And just for the record, you ended up being phenomenal. Just because you said you had a little story, I have a little funny story. So H20 came out in 98, and I was not like a little tiny child, but I was a little boy, and I just remember in the trailer you coming down from the pipe, and
Right.
I can't tell you how bad that scared me. So I went to my mom and I said, this is a 100% true story. I'm not just blowing smoke. And anyone who wants to laugh, go ahead and laugh. I don't care. I'm a grown man now. And I said, Mom, you gotta do something. And she said, what do you want me to do? She said, I can call the the TV station, have them take it off. And she pretended to call the radio station. And she said, okay, you go up to your room now and watch TV. I go up to my room. The first thing I see on the TV is you coming down again from the pipe. First reaction, it was like a TV show, like one of those moments I turn around, I'm just like, Mom, you lied.
Your call didn't work, Mom.
Exactly.
Call him again.
One of the creepiest scenes to me in seriously horror movie history has got to be the scene, obviously in H20, when you're in the bathroom and the lady's going, she has to, I think she uses the boys' room because she has to, the girls' room is out. I watched this last night too.
It's locked, correct.
Exactly. Yeah. And she goes in there and she lays down her purse, and she, the kid wants to be a big kid, whatever. So the kid goes in a separate stall, and the woman puts her purse down, and the door, comes closing, whatever, just for people listening. And, the woman is freaked out, but she thinks, maybe the rock just whatever went away. But then all of a sudden, we get that classic shot of your hand coming down, grabbing the purse, and the shot that creeped me out probably the most in horror movie history is seeing you in the mirror. That was probably the scariest scene. I mean, it's not really a question or anything, but that was probably the scariest thing in
Looking
horror
through
movie.
the crack in the door and seeing
Oh
me
my
back.
goodness. Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Right.
How was
Now,
that? What was that like?
Well, that scene was shot in two completely disparate times. There was the exterior.
Yeah.
When they walk up and check the door and it's locked and they go to the other door, was shot the very first day of filming. Okay?
Oh, wow. Okay.
And what we originally did is while they were looking at the girls' room, I peeked out from the other door. You saw a crack open, you saw a glimpse of me, the door closed, you knew I was in there, and then they go over to that door, which they decided was way too much of a giveaway and way too obvious, so they didn't use the shot. Okay?
Oh, wow.
Now, what happened, though, in reality, when you're filming, is I'm standing behind the door, and I've got a guy in there with a radio with me, cueing me when to open the door and peek out. So we do that, close the door again. They come over to the men's room, go to open the door, and that's the cut. But nobody told them to cut right then, and they open the door, and there I am standing, and this 5-year-old girl just opened the door on me, has no idea I'm standing there in this mask, and went completely pale.
Oh my goodness.
And that shut us down down for about an hour and a half because she just locked up in fright. So I had to go over immediately and find her. And
oh no, we lost Chris. Man, that was such a crazy story. Let me go back on Facebook really fast. I'll tell him we lost him. We did this with Jeff because he's in Canada. Maybe Chris will call back. He knows that I would never hang up on him, especially while he's telling me an insane... Here we go. Hello?
you there?
Yes, sir, I'm here. I have no idea what happened there. This happens like a couple times when I try to talk to people long distance, you know?
No worries. So, in any case, she opens the door and sees me and has no idea I'm in there and goes completely pale. And so I rip the mask off and I find her a few minutes later after she's calmed down and I talk to her for a while. She realizes it's just the guy, it's just me, and, you know, everybody feels horrible about it.
Yeah.
It's kind of a rough start to the whole thing.
Oh my goodness, that is terrifying. We
filmed with the actual interior much later. It was probably almost 2 months later that we filmed the interior sequence where you see the reflection in the mirror and the whole peeking through and grabbing the bag and all of that. And by that time, she shows up and she's planned something and she tries to scare me back. And of course, I play along and get scared.
Right.
She gets her revenge on me, and it was we made up at that point. She realized I wasn't a bad guy after all.
And it's crazy because when you give that look back, you know, the audience is like, I mean, I'm sure like diehard Halloween fans probably knew you weren't going to boot down the stall and assault a little girl. But, you know, it's just that, like, what is he doing? You have the purse, you know, I'm assuming, you know, Halloween fans knew you wanted the keys. Like, you have what you want. Why are you still standing there looking? It was brilliant. It was very, very, very creepy.
Right, and the thing about that whole scene is that it's a line that, you know, even Michael Myers wouldn't cross.
Yes.
Because you're crossing into a child and that whole innocence. But the danger of it happening makes you sit up on the edge of your seat and go, no, that's too far. And then it doesn't happen, and you're relieved in a sense.
And even the most diehard character.
You're still taking that ride for a moment of being freaked out about it.
That's what I was just going to say, not to cut you off there, I apologize. But that's what I was just going to say, is like the fan is sitting there, and it's like you think you know everything, but it's like once you give that look back, you really don't know. And the most diehard fan could probably tell you they did know, but at that time you looked back, you really were wondering. So...
right, and the uncertainty of it all is, of course, a bigger scare. Listen, I may jump on some questions here, but I'll jump ahead just a little bit. Is one of the things about the whole character and the whole series that I think is important is that you don't see everything and you don't fill in all of the blanks. You want to leave a certain amount of this to your imagination.
Right.
You want to set the template, and then maybe you'll see the aftermath. You don't need to see exactly what happened, because I would rather, you know, as a filmmaker, I'd rather you fill in that blank than to me show you graphically what happened. Because it's much more effective as a psychological scare than a graphic scare.
Okay. I could understand that, too. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. It's weird, but, like, you have to talk to people that actually do this stuff, because your perception of it is so much different than what actually goes on.
Right.
So, do you mind if we go into costumes a bit?
Sure, no problem.
Okay, so you filmed with 3 masks, right? So,
correct.
So the beginning was like sort of the Halloween 6 mask, and then we had the sort of, honestly, I loved the second mask, the pale all white sort of just blank, and then we had the Stan Winston incarnation, which was the winner, which had the spiked hair, and I'm glad you went with that, because that mask is amazing. It's very
now
creepy.
actually, your order is incorrect in terms of filming.
Oh, okay.
Okay, because we started with the white mask. Okay, let me back all the way up. 2 weeks before production started, I tried on all of the old masks. We did a photo shoot, lining them all up with different lighting, shooting them all with me wearing them, trying to decide what they wanted to do, which direction to go. They decided on the original mask, which was the pale one. We got about halfway through filming, and all of a sudden they decided they wanted to shift gears, and that wasn't what they wanted. It wasn't working the way they wanted it to. Now, to me, you see what are called dailies.
Yeah.
You know, the next day after filming, they process the film, they develop it, and then everyone involved at that side of it can look at the film to make sure everything's going, they're giving up coverage they want, etc. So they knew what the look was. And halfway through, they decided to change. Now, that was on a Friday, and it was a really big mess of a day.
Oof.
And that was the day we were shooting the interior of me going through the house, chasing the nurse from two.
Oh my God, that was so scary.
So we actually shot that with both masks. Okay.
Yep.
We ended up shooting it with the mask I'd been doing the whole time, and we ended up shooting it with the 5 mask. And he shot it very dark and tried to hide it and everything else, and everyone was kind of on edge and ticked off, and it was a big mess.
Oof.
And by Monday, I showed up, and there was a Winston mask, and that was it. And there was one mask, and they were working to get others done, but they had sprinted all weekend to get this thing finished.
What did you?
Ready for filming by Monday.
Yeah.
And then on Monday, we're filming with this now, changing gears, and then them struggling to kind of catch up and get others done, which they never did. So it was very tightly guarded mask the whole time. Of course, it was anyway.
Right.
And then we had to go back and reshoot some key scenes to make it work. And so they kind of kept the long distance shots with the original and then changed all the close-ups.
Did you think it was appropriate to go to the Winston mask? Like, basically, did you think that was like a good change?
I did. At the end of the day, I like that mask better.
Yep.
I kind of wish we'd started with it because there's a certain element. Again, listen, there's a momentum that happens in filming, and when you've pulled off certain scenes, like flipping the tables, and you have to go back and do it again, it's a little bit deflating. You kind of know what you're doing. You can do it faster, but at the same time, a lot of the magic of film are what are called happy accidents. Certain little nuances just happen in a scene, and you can't just recapture those. And so some things that happen the first day, the first time through were better than things that happened the second time through, and vice versa. Yeah. So it's always a little rough to kind of go, we have to revisit this and do the same scene again when we know we nailed it the first time. And you got to get your energy up, and you got to do it bigger, badder, and hope you get some of those moments again that make it really work.
Oh man, the final product was amazing. So definitely props to the crew for noticing that. But you know what? I gotta say, I bet you the pale one would have definitely became a staple in history, as the Winston did. But how come? And I just kind of asking this for myself. I always wondered, like, how come they didn't just like sculpt the actual original mask? Is it just because it doesn't fit the H20 story?
There was this huge amounts of dialogue back and forth about kind of what to do with the masks, and everyone's got this opinion on it.
Yep.
And I think that was part of that 2-week prior discussion to decide what to do, because it kind of changes and it morphs so much through time. I mean, if you listen to the stories about the original, it was, it's a Kirk mask that somebody grabbed. They had 2 options. They had a clown mask, and they had this Kirk mask that somebody thought, hey, let's grab this thing and paint it white. And it became freaky and weird and, frightening in its own right, okay?
Yeah.
But But then they kind of changed it as they went and tried to get more refined. But if you listen to Jamie ever talk about it, I mean, they stuffed it in their pocket and they threw it on the ground, and at least some mask they bought at the store.
Right.
It wasn't any special thing. And then I think people started to kind of overthink it through time.
Gotcha.
But I think by the time we ended up with the Winston mask, I mean, it was fairly well thought out. It was based very much on the original look, but it had kind of a darker and more textured feel to it.
Definitely.
Which I think added a lot to kind of the power of the character.
Definitely. It was still blank, but the spiked hair was something very different we never saw before, and for the first time I felt like we were seeing an emulation of the original Michael Myers, but with its own twist. Like, okay, this is what he looks like 20 years later. It was great, man. It was definitely, I mean, it would have been obviously cool to see the original mask, but it's like, I see why you guys, why they went with what they did. So that was.
Yeah,
that was
I mean,
cool.
there's pluses and minuses to both sides of it, and you kind of got to weigh that out, and you make a decision ultimately, and you have to live with that. And it seems like a lot of fans really enjoyed the installment, and they enjoyed that mask. Ultimately, the Winston mask.
Yep.
So I think at the end of the day, it worked very well. And sometimes just getting there is a bit of a process.
Yeah, I understand. I did a fan film, and I was the only one that cared about it. Obviously, nobody was getting paid and all that, and it was the hardest. Listen. I did. I went through EMT school, firefighting stuff, and all that, and the fan film was probably the hardest thing I've ever done. Just trying to get everything together, and it's so much. It's just so much.
There's a lot of layers.
Exactly. So actually, one thing I wanted to ask you was a lot of horror characters and stuff like that from the past and present. They're doing at conventions, they're doing photo ops with fans, but they're actually in their original costumes. So if the opportunity ever came along, it was sanctioned and stuff. Everything was all good. Would you ever do the suit for a photo op for the fans and stuff like that?
Well, I mean, I own still one of the jumpsuits from the scene right after I lowered and she sticked the axe in me.
Ooh.
I have one. I mean, we had many because there's different. There's kind of different out of sequence scenes that you're shooting.
Right.
And different amounts of damage on the suit, et cetera, and you have to have copies of each of those, and there ended up, I don't know, there's probably 20 jumpsuits by the time you're done.
Oh wow.
But I've got one with the axe wound to the chest. That's kind of one that I wanted. To do something like that with the actual jumpsuit is fine. To do the mask is kind of pointless. But if you actually had the mask and you wore it, in a sense you're a guy in a mask. It's cool for the fans. It's cool kind of to say, hey, that's really the guy.
Right.
But, it could be a mannequin almost. You know what I mean?
Darren Hughes, let him borrow it. No, I'm just kidding. Darren Hughes has a great collection, and he actually owns one of the, I think it's a stunt mask from H20 or something, but I think you've talked to him a couple times maybe, but he's such a good guy. But yeah, so, all right, I got two more questions.
Sure, go for it, man.
All right, and then I think, man, this has been, I can't even believe we're doing this right now, and that might even be inappropriate to say, but wow. Okay, so
I'm always flattered that people care about what I did with the whole show. I just tried to do my best. And,
I know,
hope
and
it would work out.
Exactly, and your work stands out. I mean, you got fans like me and all these fans trying to emulate you, and how do these coveralls look like? And you might not believe this, but it gets down to the science. Do my hands look like Chris Durand? Am I as tall as him? So it's very, people that are over the moon with H20. It's very cool to see the fans get down to details.
Incredibly flattering again. So
yeah.
I thank you guys always.
Oh, we thank you too, man. I still can't believe we're here talking. But okay, so, all right. So I guess one of the last would be: is there any facts about H20 that people might not know?
In terms of what? You mean in terms of like behind the scenes production type stuff, or?
Yeah, sure. Like, I was always wondering, like, if there was anything that you were ever gonna shoot but didn't like make it to shooting. So like,
Yeah,
okay, we
no,
want to do.
there's a very funny story. So Mustafa Akkad was the executive producer, obviously, and he was there for the original and everything. And somewhere along the line, there's the scene where I think I'm killing Adam Arkin, and there's a pistol, there's a revolver involved with the whole thing. And somebody wrote in, why doesn't Michael pick up the revolver, and he's got the revolver, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And everyone immediately, no, Michael would never use a revolver.
Yeah.
Bad idea, but somebody had thrown it out in a meeting, okay? And it immediately got not only nixed, but, beat down.
He got fired.
As in, like, right. It's like, this is a dumb idea. Why did you even say that?
That's so
shame
cool.
Somebody, right? Right. Okay. So now we're doing the table scene, and we're doing the scene where the part where she's crawling underneath and I'm walking on top.
Yep.
Okay. And Mustafa shows up on set, which was a rare occasion, and they decide that they're going to play it back to the joke on. And of course, I'm the one who has to do it. So I'm thinking, if this doesn't go over, I'm so fired, I'm going home immediately. It's done. Right? So we shoot the scene. We roll film, so this exists somewhere.
Yeah.
Hopefully they printed it. Okay? Where we do the whole scene where it pans across to her under the table, looking back and forth, pulls back, pans up to me standing on the table. Okay? You know the scene probably from the film.
Oh, of course.
She scrambles after that. Okay?
Yep.
So we're shooting that piece, and what we actually do is, as they pan up, I stand there for a beat, and then I shrug the knife off and throw it to the side, and I pull the revolver out of my back pocket. and when I do this, there's just dead freaking silence for like 2 seconds. I'm like, God, I'm so fired. And then he goes, oh, you got me, okay. And everyone bursts out laughing, and it's done, and then we film the real thing.
Oh my goodness. How could I have, you know what? This is exactly why I wanted to do this interview with you, because you always, when you talk with somebody in the audio, I mean, we have a Q&A with you going that's like still ongoing. If you want to go in there, I mean, it's still there.
Right.
But
it cropped up every now and then, right?
Exactly. Yeah, you get some fools, saying some funny stuff. But that's why I wanted to do this, because I know that you could get so much better information from actually having a conversation with somebody. And okay, we'll do this for I wanted to ask you about your hobby, but this is technically the last movie question that I got for you. And then if you want to talk a little bit about your hobby, that's cool too. You technically played 2 iconic horror characters. One was Michael Myers. The other was Ghostface. Could you tell us about your involvement with Scream 2?
Yeah, no, I was brought in on Scream 2 to do 2 things. I doubled one of the characters for one quick piece, being lowered on a cross on that stage.
Oh wow!
I don't remember who it was, but I'm kind of shirtless, just in shorts.
Right.
Kind of crucified on this thing, and it comes dropping down from up in the perms and drops down to the stage and hits the deck, and that's me coming down.
Wow.
In any case, then I did. We actually did a couple of us for Ghostface for that. So I'm one of them for some of the key scenes, chasing Sarah Michelle Gellar through the house and killing her and chucking her off the balcony.
Yep.
And the reason we mixed it up, despite the fact that it's such a flowing costume and you can't really get a gauge on who's in there, is you're not supposed to know who's in there.
Right.
And everybody moves a little bit differently, and so they wanted to have a different body in it at different times, so you couldn't kind of marry one movement to one actor and say it's got to be this guy, and no, it's got to be, and you guys, you're lying to us if it's not. So if you keep kind of mixing it up subliminally, it messes you up as the audience member, and you kind of are left off balance more. I mean, Wes even threw the thing in for one scene.
Man,
just one
it's
quick
crazy.
flip just to put himself in it. But yeah, no, that was just another thing, another call coming in to come and do what I do, which is a lot of the physical acting stuff.
So, I'm sorry, did you just say that Wes actually donned the suit for a scene? I've never ever heard that before.
Yeah, he did.
Wow, cool.
I don't remember exactly which. It was just kind of a stagnant
Right.
piece, but he threw it on one night to put himself in it, and
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah, exactly. Sort of like the original Halloween. There was like a bunch of guys doing it just because.
Right.
So, being, I'm kind of, I like to consider you a friend, man. It's been a long time since we've been speaking, and
Absolutely, man.
so being that I've got to actually get to see some of your personal, you with your family and stuff like that, and just some stuff that the normal fan might not get to see. One of the things that you post a lot though is about you're amazing at woodworking.
Thank you.
What's that? Is that just like a hobby you do? Because I saw like some mallets and those were like super badass. Like it was so cool.
Yeah, no, that's just something I picked up to do for fun. Yeah, this kind of a business is very busy when you're busy, and when you're not, you're really not.
Right.
And so why, for instance, pay somebody to work on the house when you've got the time to do it right now? So it's feast or famine, and when you're kind of in the famine mode, I tend to like to do things myself. And so I kind of taught myself how to do a lot of the woodworking stuff. Fell in love with that because it's kind of fun.
Yeah.
It's a cool thing. Don't ever want to do it as a business. I've always done it just for fun or as gifts for people and such. But yeah, it's just something to kind of fill in time and be artistic in a different vein and kind of let the world go for a while, and kind of immerse yourself in something, kind of like you do with sculpting and
Oh yeah.
and the mask making and all of that. It lets you kind of let your guard down, let the world go, and just be for a while.
And you don't have a boss.
Say again?
You don't have a boss to answer to. It's like it's your own thing,
It's your own thing, right? It's your own thing. It's your own timing. Again, I don't sell anything. It's just, if I do anything for anyone else, I'm giving it to them as a gift.
Exactly. Exactly. I would probably do the same if materials didn't cost so much, man. I just love making stuff. Like, I end up giving a lot of stuff away just because, I don't know. It's been made for a while. I mean, it's not like I lost the money because I love doing this. So, like, I've already spent the money a while ago, so I just have it lying around. So, if I don't like, and I don't even like to call people customers. It's just like, I don't know. I enjoy the hobby and stuff, so I just like to give,
Right. I mean, you get a certain enjoyment out of it. Listen, what I did at the very beginning is I made people gifts, like a wedding gift that you would normally go and buy.
Right.
I made, but what I did is I bought a tool, and I bought the materials, and then I made the gift. And so I ended up kind of even minus my time for building it, which is something I kind of wanted to do anyway. So I ended up ahead of the game because I still have the tool.
Right.
And you start to get a collection of tools, and you start to branch out. And after a while, it's kind of paid for itself anyway. And then on top of that, you get the enjoyment out of it, hopefully.
Exactly.
And you get to do nice things for the people, and that's what you should do.
Exactly. Anything before we head out? Anything upcoming that you want to announce or talk about, or?
No, I'm actually working on a bunch of very different stuff from film right now. I'm doing some books, which I can't really talk about right now.
Yep.
But hopefully, soon enough, everyone will know.
Yep.
And trying to edit this documentary we did, which is a pretty rough subject, so I won't get too much into that.
Okay.
But I've got all the footage, and I'm trying to, it's the real world's horror show kind of stuff. So I'm kind of shifting gears a lot.
Yep.
I'm still working on film and TV occasionally. I've got a job coming up in January, which is some kind of a really silly, I think it's a Showtime production of some sort. And we're doing a big fight as if it's at like a Comic-Con.
Oh, wow.
With all the nerds, you know, and the cosplay guys, the over-the-top nerdy cosplay breaking out into a fight, kind of a satire thing.
Gotcha.
Which is actually really, really funny because when I do the conventions, you have people who are so adamantly into the characters that I get to be one of the cosplayers this time and have fun with it. But it's all the people who I love to see when I go out anyway.
Oh, that's awesome, man.
It's kind of a really cool crossover and very fun.
And we talked in through messaging one time. Man, you got to come out to Rock and Chalk. It's a horror convention in Worcester, Massachusetts.
I'd love to. I'm going to try to listen. I don't go out that much. I get out. You know, sometimes I don't go out at all during the year, and sometimes I go out once or twice.
Yep.
Just to kind of keep it fresh. But we're coming up on a big anniversary here, so I'm thinking this next year I might try to make the rounds and really get out there.
Man, that'd be so amazing. I could finally see you in person.
That'd be awesome, man.
So yeah, we killed it, man. This is I can't tell you how amazing this episode has been, and I thank you so much for coming on, Chris.
Yeah, I just want to say one last thing about the new upcoming, the new episode, the new installment, I should say, of Halloween.
Yeah, of course. I forgot to ask you, what did you think about Nick Castle playing? Listen,
Nick is a friend. He's a gentleman. He's a wonderful guy. Had I been casting for this, the story has changed many, many times from the information I've got. It's been, you know, you're too old to play him, you're too young to play him, you're back and forth, blah, blah, blah. They finally, it seems, settled on the story and what they want to do, and they want to play an older Myers. And listen, Nick originated the role, and I think it's phenomenal that they're going to bring him back, and with Jamie involved, and that kind of brings the whole thing full circle.
Yes.
There's a certain poetic justice to that. I got to say, listen, I'm never offended that somebody deserving gets a job. I think it's phenomenal. I support it 100%. Had I been the guy casting this and kind of from the information I have, knowing what they're trying to do, I would have cast him in a second.
My goodness.
And I think it's great.
Yes.
And had I ever been offended by not being, you know, asked to do it again or some such, then I would have to be offended that I had the job that I had in the first place, that they didn't keep him originally. You know, they've changed a lot through the years. It gave me the opportunity to play this iconic character, for which I'm forever thankful and grateful. And the fact that they're bringing Nick back again, like I said, brings it full circle. And I think that's really, really cool. And I'm super happy for him. And hopefully he'll be out there a lot visiting everyone at the cons. And everyone will get the chance to see him. And I know they'll do a good job. So I'm happy for him, man.
I can't thank you enough, first of all, for being on, but I can't thank you enough for reminding me about that. You know what it was, though, was I'm so blown away by the like little details get me. So like the story with the kid in the bathroom and stuff, I'm still reeling over stuff like that. It's been such an honor to talk to you. So the new Halloween was so far out of my mind just because I love Halloween H2O, and it's been great talking to you about H2O, you know what I mean? So
well, listen, it's a pleasure. I'm glad you had me on. You've been a gentleman this whole time for everything, and I love doing the interviews. So if you need anything, just holler, man.
Oh my goodness, Chris, you are the best, man. Okay, so I mean that's 45 Lampkin Late, and that's pretty much it. You couldn't ask for a better interview. And I want to say before we leave, though, is I didn't ask you about Jamie Lee Curtis simply because if you guys want, Chris spoke in depth about working with Jamie Lee Curtis, and if you go to our group, it's such a redundant name, so contact me, Alex Miller, on Facebook. I'll refer you to the group, and you guys can go into Chris's Q&A and see what his thoughts were about working with Jamie Lee Curtis. I just didn't. You went so in depth with that in the group that I just didn't think it'd really be necessary to bombard you with stuff like that here, because I wanted to talk about what you did, you know.
Sure, thank you.
All right, so Chris, thanks again. Can't thank you enough, and that's gonna be it for this week.